Welcome to a new episode of the brand called You. I brought you lots of entrepreneurs with some fascinating stories, and today I have a very exciting entrepreneur from Singapore, Sumit Nanda. Sumit, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Sumit is from Hindu College. He went to IIM Ahmedabad. He's currently the chairman of Golden State Capital, and we'll talk a little bit about it. But I think the most exciting new venture he's doing is Reverse Age Health Services Private Limited. And he lives in Singapore, and as he just told me, Singapore is the most exciting city to live in if you want to work in India. And he's here every month. So, Sumit, you are the quintessential entrepreneur. You seem to have so many investments, so many different things. Talk to me a little bit about your early life as an, once you started investing and
So, to give you a little background, these days, it's fashionable to say I'm a college dropout. So I start with that.
okay,
I started working when I was 19,
Okay.
still in college. So though I completed my college degree, but I was practically working more than attending college because we started when I was 19, first year into college. My brother had just passed out of college. So we started with trading of gold jewelry, borrowed capital from my
Incredible.
father, a
Oh.
small capital of 5,000 rupees, and we were trading.
and why gold jewelry? Did you have any family background in gold or
No background.
I see.
But when we, because of capital constraint, we thought that this was a good way to kind of churn quickly. And also the real reason was that we had a neighbor who was one of the most successful with the biggest house, and so we thought he must be doing something good.
Okay.
And he had set up a small unit for making Italian chains that time. So we bought one chain from him, and he told us that you can go out and sell it to small jewelers, because I only sell to larger ones like Marasans, Tribhavandas, or whatever, who buy in bulk. So we bought a chain and went out, me and my brother, and sold it to someone for 4-5% profit. So
Okay.
on 5,000 rupees, we got like 200-300 rupees
Fantastic.
on day one.
Fantastic.
And we did it again the next day and the next day, and by end of the month we had 5,000 profit on 5,000 rupees. So
Wow.
we thought this is good. And if we had gone into for a job at that time, I mean, there were not many options. Either you would go overseas or work for the government. So we thought this was good.
Yeah.
So that is how we
What
started.
a great start, huh?
After that, for doing the same for 3-4 years, we had built up some capital, and that's when we wanted to get into manufacturing. And the Indian economy was opening up. Consumerism was coming in. There was a lot of TV advertising and a lot of new machinery. Like these days, when we hear of startups, it's more about technology startups. Around early 90s was more about manufacturing startups.
Correct.
So everyone wanted to set up a plant,
Yeah.
set up a factory. So we were also looking for something to get into manufacturing, and we shortlisted toothbrushes
Okay.
because we thought it was a consumer good, totally opposite of gold, not a luxury item, use and throw. So whatever we had learned from our past
Gold,
experience
yeah.
in gold, we wanted to do something different, which could be decentralized. So gold, we saw that was like we were like I try to call it like the chokidar, because we had to shut the shop, keep everything in lock and key, and still be tensed about it
Yeah.
at night. But and we were responsible for it for life. But toothbrushes, we wanted to do something which was use and throw. I mean, a consumer good, no seasonal effect.
Correct.
Like that. So then we got into toothbrushes. Initially, we were doing more exports to Russia, and that's when my brother moved to Russia. He was looking more after marketing, and I was always the production guy, more involved in the operations and manufacturing operations. So then we got into contract manufacturing for Oral-B toothbrushes here in India,
Okay.
and a lot of other multinational brands. So that's how the business
Wonderful.
grew.
And today you own brands like Benaka, Pepsodent, Close Up for USA, and you have a stake in Lemon Tree Hotels. How did you go about acquiring all these?
So, as I mentioned, initially we were into contract manufacturing, but then we realized that in contract manufacturing we were always squeezed between the buyer and the raw material suppliers because pricing was out of our control. So, a Walmart or a Walgreens would have long-term contracts, and we were bound by price for 2 years, and any fluctuation in the currency or raw material pricing was to our account. uh, it was more like a job work or like a fixed
Correct.
kind of. And the raw material suppliers, the petrol price would go up or anything, and the price would fluctuate every day. So we saw that pricing was out of our control. So we started licensing or buying old brands.
Okay.
Because if we tried to create a new brand, especially in a market like USA, which was predominantly our main market, it was not so easy to build a brand. And so we thought this was a good way. So initially we were licensing brands, and then we got an opportunity to acquire Binaka, which we know had a very good brand recall in India and also in 40 other countries, and was lying dormant for 30-40 years. We also acquired Unilever's brand portfolio of Close Up, Aim, and Pepsodent. They were getting out of
toothbrushes.
Personal care products or any brands where they were not number 1, 2, or 3. So like North America, they were not doing so well. We thought that, these brands, at least if nothing else, have a good recall with Indian consumers. So that was very in sensible. Our mind that
very
that market is there with us, but they have done well, and we have extended the brands, and we've got like mouthwash, toothpaste, floss, other products into the whole.
Amazing. That's quite amazing. So tell me, and also talk a little bit about Lemon Tree Hotels.
So while we were doing all this, we were manufacturing toothbrushes, and initially we had a manufacturing location at Mon Cooperative Industrial Area in Mathura Road. And as we were expanding, because we needed, like with Oral-B, we grew almost 100% year on year because there was a big market share that they took up when they came in, and they actually were the ones who really taught us about manufacturing, and we were growing with them. So we needed new facility every year, and so we bought whatever land came up for sale in that industrial area around us, and we were expanding in the region. So anything plot was available, we would buy that for future expansion. After 2003-04, when the government announced tax incentives for consumer goods companies, we moved all our manufacturing to Baddi and Sidkul in Haridwar, and these were vacated. So and that was the time when a lot of IT boom was happening after Y2K with all the call center software, IT technology companies. So there was a lot of demand for office space. So we converted these into office buildings and leased them out. So it kind of became an investment model for us because we demerged the company and kept it separately as an investment. And that is when we acquired a plot in a DD auction for a hotel, more as an investment. And we tied up with Lemon Tree Hotels for management, because we don't do hotel management. So that hotel was operational during Commonwealth Games when the government was giving tax incentives. And recently Lemon Tree went public. So before their public issue, they consolidated all the joint ventures or SPVs into the parent company, and we were issued shares into Lemon Tree parent company. So it is like we hold it as an investment.
Fantastic. And all these, I presume, you hold through your Golden State Capital.
Most of them,
yes. Okay. So, Sumit, let's move to the next avatar which you have, which is EGA Juice Clinic. Unusual name. What does EGA mean?
So EGA stands for reverse of age
Oh, wow.
AGE, age spelled backwards.
Wow.
And that's primarily what we do in the business is reverse internal metabolic age. So I like to give example of a car, that if two people, you and me, buy a car at the same time, and I drive rash and I'm not taking care of it, but you're really taking care of it, servicing it every day. After 5 years, the life on paper for both the cars is the same, but how
One
they
is well
work
maintained.
is completely different.
Correct.
Right? So that is what is internal metabolic age. So if we are not putting the right fuel in, if we are not servicing it well, the body is aging much faster. Like if we are when we are young, in our teenage, in 20s, we can eat anything and be fine the next day morning.
Correct.
And as we age, energy levels are not the same and digestion is not the same. We cannot be doing the same things that we were doing earlier, which is when metabolism is slowing down.
Correct.
So actually, I would like to take you back and give a little brief of how this started.
Yeah, please.
Actually started with my own experience. I was this is about 6-7 years ago. I was 42, 43. And my weight was over 100 kilos.
Really?
Popping a lot of pills, a lot of health issues. I had diabetes, I had blood pressure. I used to get severe migraines. I had very low immunity. I would be sick. Like I grew up with a sensitive throat and I would have cold and cough regularly. So, and I would exercise regularly. I was trying to follow and eat right.
Yeah.
I would eat my dinner on time. I would eat egg whites, like brown bread.
Correct. Everything that people say is
Exactly. So, and I was, if I didn't exercise, then I would, my immunity would be low and I would fall sick. And if I was exercising, I would feel very hungry. So I was eating a lot. So that kind of, I was gaining more and more weight. And fortunately, I met this Ayurvedic doctor about 6 years ago, and he touched my pulse. And he said that your body is full of toxins. So whatever you're eating is not getting digested well. So the cells send a signal to the brain, more food. And that makes you feel hungry all the time. So we first need to detox you. I would like to give the example of a car again.
Sure.
Like if we put a diesel in a petrol car, even if we change it back to the petrol again, it won't work unless we clean up the system.
Correct.
So that is basically what he's meant, that he said, I have to detox your body, clean up at the cellular level so that body function can improve. Once the blood is clean, liver is clean, digestive system is clean, then the body can metabolize whatever you're eating.
Okay.
So made sense. I said, okay, let's give it a try, because I had almost
it has obviously
tried
worked on
everything.
you.
Yeah. Like whenever I was sick, I would go to a doctor. They would give more medicine. They would write antibiotics. I was like popping antibiotics every 2 or 3 months because there was infection and I had to take. So I said, let's give this a try. And to be honest, I was never a believer in Ayurveda till that time. So he put me on a detox diet for 30 days, which was practically a vegan diet, no animal products, no milk products, no tea or coffee. And I told him that if I don't get coffee, I get a headache. He said, bear it for 2-3 days. And I was popping painkillers almost every morning because I used to get severe migraines. And so he said, bear it for 2-3 days and throw all medicines out of your house, because if your brain knows that there is something available, you'll run for it. So these are symptoms your body is giving. You have to understand the cause of it and then correct it so that it can be a cure for long term. So, but to cut the long story short, it has been 6 years. I've never popped a pill, never fallen sick for a day. There's no diabetes, there's no blood pressure. I put my head down on the bed and sleep like a baby. My energy levels are better than my 20s. I wake up fresh every morning.
And you've lost a lot of weight.
Weight, I think, I don't care much about that, but I fast regularly 1 day a week, which I could never fast, and I thought that people who fast must be crazy because I could never fast. But I regularly fast 1 day a week, and I only eat freshly cooked food.
Okay.
So he gave me a few things that I was doing when he put me on the detox diet, which I have followed for the last 6 years, and that has really changed my mind,
Wow.
changed my life.
life.
So, because I have benefited so much, I thought that it is my duty to also give it to more and more people and bring this knowledge to more and more people. So then I got the doctor to come to Singapore and we started this venture. And when we were talking of the brand, then I told him that, when you touched my pulse and you told me that my internal biological age was that of a 65-year-old. That was the biggest shock for me. And that is what got me hooked. So I said, let's do something which talks of age reversal. And that's how the name came about.
Wow. So is age reversal actually possible?
Like I mentioned, it is internal metabolic age.
Better.
So when we, blood carries nutrition to every cell in the body. Once the blood is clean, it can carry nutrition to every cell, it can carry oxygen to every cell, and it can detox every cell. Similarly, if the liver function is good, then the body can metabolize whatever we are eating. So that is metabolic age
So,
reversal.
you have started this venture in Singapore, which is the heart of traditional Chinese medicine. How is Ayurveda getting accepted in Singapore?
Actually, I get that question a lot, and I think what has helped is that people, especially Chinese people, are familiar with TCM and they believe in it. So that has helped us a lot.
Okay.
Because TCM and Ayurveda are actually 80% alike. And when we started, I was surprised that actually I thought that Indians might be our customers. Initially, 90% of our clientele was Caucasians.
Okay.
So more white people. We started with a small clinic, and it was more as I would say that I had made a promise to the doctor, and I also had a selfish interest that, okay, he's here, that
you would be looked after,
So we started with a small clinic and we put up a little experiment into it, like a experience center. What I do a fresh amla juice, turmeric juice every morning. I fast on juices 1 day every week. So we thought, let's do that also as a part. So whoever comes in for consultation will also have this. And the concept in the store is food as medicine. So we say our mission is freedom from disease, drugs, and doctors.
Okay.
And no one ever needs to see a doctor in life. We can all lead a disease-free life if we follow the concept of food as medicine. And to our surprise, within the first 1 week, we had people queuing up.
Wow.
Because the location was very strategic. We were right outside Botanical Gardens in Singapore. You know that well.
I know that well.
So a lot of people go there early morning for yoga, walk. And fortunately, that spot worked out very, very well for us. And a lot of Caucasians are very familiar with the concepts of Ayurveda, to my surprise.
Yeah.
To be honest, before I met the doctor, I had never heard of Vata Pitta Kapha. But 80-90% of Caucasians who come to us are aware and familiar with it. So initially it was that, but as of today, it's been like 2.5 years. Almost 50% of our clientele is local Chinese. So because they are already into TCM has helped us a lot.
Okay. So one more question on IGA before I move to the next segment. And that is that what would your advice be to people who want to lead a healthy Ayurvedic lifestyle?
The first rule I would say, which I tell everyone, and is more important than what you eat or what you exercise, is to follow a daily routine, which is Dincharya. And because we are all part of nature, so most important is to wake up on time and sleep on time.
Correct.
This is a very, very important aspect because of which we are facing a lot of health issues today. People are sleeping 2-3 o'clock at night. or very late working on computer, and we need to wake up before sunrise and sleep after sunset.
Yeah.
So body detoxifies between 10 to 2 at night, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. at night. If we are sleeping at 12 o'clock, we are missing half the time for detoxification and repair. The body also repairs itself. We are a colony of trillion cells, right?
Correct.
And new cells are being formed, old ones are being excreted. So if we don't give the body time to repair itself, then we are aging much faster. So that is one very important aspect, and the most important. Besides that, it is 80% diet and 20% exercise. No matter if we exercise 24 hours a day, it's actually very harmful. You might die within a very short period, anyone, if you exercise 24 hours a day. But we'll still not be able to burn enough calories of what we are taking. So the only thing that can help is be careful of what we put into our mouth. Like what Ayurveda says, if diet is right, medicine is of no need. If diet is wrong, medicine is of no use.
Well said.
Anything we put in our mouth will either cure disease or cause disease. So diet is very, very important. Now on diet, I think freshly cooked food is something which I follow, which is what the doctor told me. So I don't eat anything which is not freshly cooked. So no breads, no biscuits, no old food. Anything which is freshly cooked.
So you mean for people living in Delhi, no paratha from last night?
Yes. No, you can eat as many paratha.
Though it may be the tastiest in the morning.
I think fresh paratha is more tasty. I would think that.
I agree. And so, Sumit, let me move now to the next segment. And that I want to talk to you about your learnings and your advice as an entrepreneur. You've been an entrepreneur since you were 19 years old, done multiple businesses, had lots of success. I'm sure you had some failures, but and you also, I think, work closely with your brother, who I had the pleasure of speaking to also on my show. My question to you is that what is the advantage of going solo versus having a partner?
Okay, to give you a little background again on failures. Actually, failure is the best to happen for success. There can be no success without failures. And like they say that how did you become successful? Because of experience. And how did you get experience? Because of failures, right? So failure came to us very early in life. When I was telling you that 5,000 on 5,000 in month one, and we were doing that for 3-4 months, and we had like 30,000-40,000 rupees capital, and we were thinking, oh, this is very easy, right? And we can keep doing it again and again, and whatever we had, the capital, we gave it to a jeweler, and the next day he disappeared. So we got that first shock very early in life, and that actually has been a very big lesson for us. And I always quote that and remember that, because had it not happened at that stage, I mean, things would not have been the same. It is very important to learn that lesson. And in business, it's not that everything will keep going up every day.
Yeah, there will be a downturn.
It is a mixed bag, and we have to be careful, have to take calculated risks. Though initially when you start out, I think risk-taking ability is much higher. We were almost betting our entire capital every day.
Yes.
But I think that is one big lesson in business. That failure comes.
Continuing from that, since we've got hundreds and thousands of people who will listen to you on the video and podcast, what would your advice be to some young people starting off their journey? One is, of course, protect your capital.
So my advice to all youngsters, and these days a lot of my friends have kids growing up, and if they're into a job, they would like to have them intern with someone, and a lot of young people who I interact with, my advice to them is that the biggest addiction in life is not drugs, is not alcohol, is not gambling, is a paycheck in your bank account every month.
Okay.
So the longer you are into it, the more difficult it is to leave it.
So give up your paycheck addiction. Huh?
First, best thing is don't get into it.
Okay.
Be an entrepreneur from day one, because we all learn. And if you're scared that if I will do well, can I do it? It is the same risk everywhere. Even if you're in a job, you have to do your best. You have to earn 10 times of what they're paying you in a job.
Correct.
To sustain yourself.
So may as well earn that for yourself.
Exactly. So that is my first advice.
Okay. So continuing again from that, fantastic advice. But tell me or share with us some of your learnings from some failures.
I think the first thing is to get started. If we keep thinking and do too much of analysis and paralysis, like they say, too much analysis leads to paralysis.
Correct.
So if there is too much of analysis, probably gets more difficult. Once you throw a kid into a water, he will learn to swim.
Correct.
That's the only way to learn to swim, right? You cannot stand on the edge and think of crossing. Right? So you have to take some risk, get started,
correct,
and then find a way. I think everyone finds their own way. So some bit of risk taking is required. That is a must. Then I think it is about your passion, what you really feel that keeps you happy every day morning. That is very important.
Okay.
I think that is one of the key to follow a passion.
Okay. So with my last question to you, you've seen such incredible success. You've been, not only succeeded in India, but in the US, in Russia, in Singapore. What do you do differently that makes you succeed?
Coming back to your question, and I missed that at that point in time when you asked if partnership is a better way to go or doing it alone is better. I would think that a partnership is always better.
Okay.
Like today, we make a lot of investments into new startups. So the first thing that we look at is if there is a team of founders. Single founder is actually a big risk. Because not all of us have the same skill set. Like between me and my brother, we always complemented each other a lot in our area of work. He was always a more marketing person, trying to do new things, and I was trying to hold him back. He would do 10 things and I would pull him back. So in a team, complementing skill sets, I think help to grow the business, to cut the risk. Where you can be sounding bored and one person has a very strong opinion about something, but the other person can bring in the caution, which I think if you're doing alone, you can be a little rash. The other thing that I feel, which I have learned a lot, is sometimes when you are very successful, some kind of arrogance comes in. You start feeling that I am invincible or I cannot fail. Whatever I do is right. Whatever I think is right, because I have succeeded in the past, I will be able to do that again.
Correct.
There is some kind of arrogance that comes in, and of course, we have all been through it, and I know that ultimately that immediately is the cause of a failure.
I agree. Wonderful. So Sumit, thank you very much. It's been an absolutely fascinating discussion. I look forward to seeing more and more EGA stores all over the world.
Thank you.
And I wish you all success.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You podcast. Be sure to visit tbcy.in to join the conversation, access show notes, and discover fantastic bonus content. You can follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Simply search for the Brand Called You. Thank you and see you next week.